Okay, there we go. It's finally clear. Hi, and welcome to ParaTalk One-on-One. Today's guests are Debra Fawcett and Lisa Franks from the Old Lavaca County Jail in Hallettsville, Texas. Hi, everybody. How you guys?
Hi.
Hey,
Today we want to talk about you are the property managers of this particular haunted location, correct?
Yes, we
yes,
are.
ma'am.
And this is an active location. I've actually heard a lot about it from Rhodey
Oh,
and
wow.
Oh,
Katrina, and I've been there twice myself with my own team. So,
Yeah.
nice.
yes, but this is about you guys. I want you guys to tell
Oh,
me,
yeah.
give us a little history of the jail if you don't mind.
All right. The jail was built in 1885. It operated as the Lavaca County Jail until 2005. When it closed, they built a new jail because they needed larger occupancy. And then it sat empty for about 10 years before Mr. Chambers from Rita Inc. purchased it. I got connected with him about a year later, and long story short, took over doing the restoration of this property for him. He buys a lot of historic properties. A
Mhm.
lot of them house small commercial businesses. Um, they're all available for unique filming locations. He has a lot of interesting buildings. He
Awesome.
bought this as a long-term project and didn't really have time to devote to it. And I convinced him to let me come here and do a paranormal investigation,
Uh-huh.
and we ended up. I told him how active it was and suggested that letting people come in here to investigate would be a good way for him to supplement his restoration funding on the building.
Right.
So we entered into a partnership to do that. It took us about a year to get this place cleaned up and ship shape and ready for guests. But it
Right.
certainly has a tremendous amount of history. It's such a cool, unique looking old building. Initially, there was an old house on this property that was owned by City Marshal Dan Merritt. He donated the rest of his property for the jail to be built here. And it was built connected to that house that he lived in. So
Mhm.
sheriffs always lived here on the property with their families, and that gave him the extra living space, a kitchen, laundry, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So they lived here with their families historically until 1969. Sheriff Dodds got killed. Sheriff and his deputy got shot by some prisoners while they were transporting them. And at that point, his wife became the only female sheriff we ever had for a period of about 6 months until they could appoint a new sheriff. But after that point, sheriffs no longer lived here with their
Right.
families. The jail twice has been flooded with like 8 feet of water from the Lavaca
Wow.
River, which runs right behind the jail. The entire city of Hallettsville has been flooded.
Right.
So there was a lot of cleanup and a lot of hard work, and I
Yeah.
mean, even as late as during the Hurricane
Hurricane
Harvey,
Harvey.
water came almost scarily up to the back of the jail once more, and we had some ceilings cave in from heavy water on the roofs. But we've been doing a lot of restoration work. We're about to tear off the front of the building, which is a newer addition that was added in 1976 to restore the original facade of the jail, how it
Mhm.
looked
Right.
back then. The old house, when it went away with the flood, was replaced by a tin building that sits in the exact same spot. And you've been here, you've seen it. It's where the officers lounge and a few offices and
Right.
kitchen things are back there. So we still have a lot of space there. But I've spent a lot of time researching the history of this jail, which
Uh-huh.
was labor intensive and difficult because the records were so bad and so many records were destroyed.
Right.
I've had former employees make comments to me such as, we hate paperwork. So a lot of things just,
I
not recorded. We did discover there were a number of custodial deaths here, some suicides. There was once a gallows off to the left side of the property where the public hangings took place. How many public hangings did we find? Like
23 that we know of.
something like that.
Oh, wow.
And the gallows set probably where our room is next door where we sleep. So that's, yeah,
Right.
double the pleasure. But I don't know. We don't officially live here in the jail, but there are times when at least I spend weeks at a time up here doing work. Lisa's husband is our project manager in charge of the demo and restoration that we have left to do. So we're going to be spending a lot more time up here. But
Yes,
we've
we
had
are.
our share of nights of sleeping in here, and
I was going to ask you, how is spending so much time there, how has that affected you?
I mean, it's been she's crazy.
Just when
now.
you think you know something, you know
Right.
nothing. So
My hair was her color when I got here, if that tells you anything. But I mean, when I initially came here and started all the work, I was pretty much here alone. And I don't know, I have a reputation for being fairly fearless. And I've been an investigator for like over 40 years. So I've been to some of the most haunted locations around the country.
Right.
But to me, this place, for me anyway, was more active than any place I'd ever been. I had so many more things happen to me. I mean, even the first night here, just boom, 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 more than you get investigating anywhere. So I wasn't really sure if I was up to the task of dealing with that kind of activity by myself. But I've had a lot of friends that have pitched in, spent time here with me, helping me when I was really here alone. Rhodey, God love her, she actually kind of co-hosted with me for a while when we got up and running. And
Right.
she, I mean, just having an extra person here gives you a little bit of extra confidence.
yes,
It's different when you're the only one here.
it is.
Right.
I'll sit in here and watch Willy Wonka all night long.
We're not watching The Conjuring when we're here alone.
No.
We'll do that when we have guests here, but you know, just even in the early days, I would spend a lot of my time in there at night simply because we didn't have electricity yet.
And
We
it's
didn't have
hot during
water
the
yet.
day.
Nighttime was cooler. I mean,
Right.
it's much cooler in there anyway as opposed to outside because the walls are 3 feet thick. So you're in this big concrete cave for the most part. So
Right.
it is cooler in there. But being in there at night, I would have my stereo turned up full blast. Super investigator. I didn't want to hear nothing. I didn't want to experience anything. I didn't want anything to happen to me. You know, and even though you try to ignore them, they will get your attention
Yes, they will.
one way or another, and then you just like stop
So-
everything else. I'm sorry.
Over time, has it become easier to deal
Oh
with?
yeah. Oh yeah. It was pretty hostile in the beginning, and I think just because nobody had ever been in here for like 10 years, they weren't used to having anybody in here. All of a sudden, you got people in here doing stuff, and we actually kind of bonded and formed relationships with a couple of these spirits that I think have
Definitely.
been here for a long, long time. So eventually it got down to the point where I was so frustrated and crying jags, and we're having a come to Jesus meeting, and basically told them, look, you know, we're here doing this to save this building, and
Right.
to ultimately let you have this place to stay in for as long as you want to stay. Nobody's
Right.
going to run you out of here. We're trying to make it better for you, really. We have mutual respect for you. We expect the same in return. You know, jack with us all you want, but, you know, the delay of game things they would do sometimes, structurally, rip a window out of a wall. It was
Wow.
things like that that was like, you know, it has to stop.
Right.
But I think for the most part, what we get from them is more of a feeling of protection from them.
There's definitely from a few, but you also have to understand, and Debra knows what I'm talking about, that the longer you're here, you have more deeper experiences. Things that as a paranormal investigator, you don't even know about. I mean, you have your knockings, your apparitions, your,
Right.
you know, EVPs, but things that go so beyond that to another dimension that a normal, well, I don't want to say a normal paranormal investigator, but your
average person is not
wouldn't
gonna
even think about looking for this kind of stuff. And to
Right.
experience it, that to me is way scarier than any other, the door slamming, the dark masses, you know, the EVPs. those are, you know, a little scary, but the another dimension things where you just are like, what even just happened?
We'll hear each other's voices when we're not in proximity to that person. People have seen, oh, I just watched him walk down the hallway and he comes from someplace entirely different. There's some of that like doppelganger kind of element.
Right.
I've gotten
Missing of time is another one where
a little
you
time lapse. And it's not things that we talk about to, you know, the usual investigators who come here because it's hard to believe something like that happened. You can't create the evidence to really substantiate it.
no.
To document something like that happening. So we really don't talk about it unless someone comes up and says, you know, the freakiest thing just happened to me ever. And I'm like, yeah. It's my grandma.
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
And then they tell us and we kind of nod, we're like, yeah, been there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like this Twilight Zone area of the jail. We don't refer to it as that. We have another word for it, but I won't say it on here.
Mind F.
Yeah.
Right.
What's happening?
Things that just make you stare at the dirt for hours trying to figure it out, and you realize that you won't figure it out. It's almost like there's a overlapping of dimensions kind of here.
Absolutely.
Where suddenly you're somewhere else. But you don't know you're somewhere else until you're back in the now and you realize, oh, where was I after the last 20 minutes?
Pretty much.
I mean, it's stuff like that is become
so
much more intriguing to me
right.
than just the, you know, the EVPs and the apparitions.
Right, that's much more fascinating. Those are personal experiences.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And you try to figure out, you know, is it the ley lines that run under here? Is it the close proximity to the river, to the water?
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah.
Could it be the river?
And who knows, you know, I mean, I don't know that for a fact that plays a factor in it, but I can say this is the only place I've ever been where I've experienced anything like that.
Right.
Same.
Now, does anything follow you home when you're not on the property? Have you had that happen to you?
Get out of my house.
Oh yeah. Most definitely.
It has not happened to me from here, but I've had a number of people that will call me after they get home or call Lisa after they get home and say, man, you know, I think something came home with me. I'm like, oh, A, we consider that theft.
Bring 'em back.
You can't take our spirits. You have to bring them back. If you'd like to bring them back, we'll take them. Or sage your house, tell them to come back to the jail. That's where they belong. It's never been like a serious attachment problem for anyone. But, you know, the regular, you know, like Cody, Sheriff John, the spirits that we deal with all the time here, I don't think they're up for stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do a tremendous amount of ITC research. We do a lot of ghost boxing. And when you do stuff like that, you turn it on, your IP address goes up, and people come in. So you never know who's going to show up for that session.
Right.
And I strongly believe we've had a number of hitchhikers hang around here after, you know, doing that.
And we're so lovable. We'll go to locations and the spirits are like, we want to go with them.
Right. Like, heck with us
Hop
if they want
in.
to. We do a lot of cemetery tours around here. We like to do gravestone rubbings and stuff like that. And we're always giving you that invite. Hey, if you guys know where the old jail is, that's where we're at. You want to get out, see some new scenery? We got nice people there. Come visit.
Yeah.
We play it up. But, I mean, there's not been like one particular spirit here that he's got to go or whatever.
No,
you know.
not at all.
It's
Who do you think
you're all
is
welcome.
the most active spirit that is there?
The most active?
Yeah.
I'd say John.
Yeah, because I don't think he ever really leaves. Like, he's
No.
always here.
He was the second sheriff here, Sheriff John Hootens. And he had 6 children when he was sheriff here. 2 of his children got killed while he was in office here. His son, he had an 8-year-old son named Horace, who ironically got killed by a runaway horse. It's kind of odd. 3 years later, they had a little girl named Maud, who was 9 months old when she died here. So she was born here, died here. Both the kids' funerals were here. And people will often tell us they hear children's voices, especially in that house where the house was in the back, which is where the sheriff's families lived. And I remember someone asking me, they didn't have kids in jail here, did they?
Right.
No, they did not. But lots of families grew up in here, and lots of kids were in here. Kids' funerals were
From
here.
1885 to 1969. I mean, that's a
Right.
lot of families.
Yeah, well, through
A lot of
1970.
families.
Lots and lots of families, and we started doing research on every family that lived here, referencing that with the deaths of children in this area,
Right.
and found his 2 kids right off the bat. There may have been more that I have not found yet. A good friend of ours, her father's actually Sheriff Dodds. She grew up in here, spent a lot of time with us talking about this place and her experiences living here as a family. And I remember telling her we had, they named a section of highway 2 years ago after Sheriff Dodds in honor of him. And Lisa and I decided to do a big reception for his family here. What more fitting place where
Right.
he worked and where they lived. And it was fantastic. So the sheriff's office is all set up like a sheriff's office would have been back then. And I told her, I said, we have a picture of Sheriff John hanging here in this office. And I wanted to also hang a picture of your father in here. And every time I try to, it gets knocked off the wall. It gets broken.
Wow.
She started laughing. She goes, because this was never my dad's office. My dad was never set up in here. He had a table in the hallway. He'd come in at night, throw his keys and his gun and stuff there. He did not utilize this as his office.
Wow.
John does not want to share it,
Right.
I forget where that was going.
I don't know. There's just so many stories. We just ramble on.
Now,
But
what do
yeah,
you
I think-
think if people show up there and try to, let's say they're dressed up in prison garb or something like that, do they usually get more out of their experience there? Or is
They
it
often
pretty much
do.
the same?
We do a lot of filming here, so we have a closet full of wardrobe of sheriff shirts,
Sheriff.
orange jumpsuits. We've shot some prison films here.
Got handcuffs.
We've got everything to make it look like a real jail experience. But also in the beginning, we entertained all of Hallettsville's finest. All of these police officers here, most of them were too young to have ever worked here.
Right.
Most of them had never even been in here and seen the place. They loved coming here. It became a ritual for new rookies to take them to the old jail and lock them up upstairs
Oh, wow.
just for a moment. But when those guys would walk in here with all their Kevlar and their guns, and I mean, you could feel things change. We were doing an EVP session in the downstairs cells when Saul came in one day, and you very clearly hear a disembodied voice say, "Hello, officer." And it's like,
Wow.
they talk to me, they know I'm a cop. I'm like, well, look at you, man, yeah, you're a cop.
Right.
And we would get references to them. But a lot of people come in here and role play and dress up and walk around, try to shake things up,
Got
try
the
to.
old jail keys and.
Yeah, we have the original
stuff,
keys
so,
to the jail, so they can go through here and try to. And we always tell people, there's so much activity here, and the regular spirits here are so eager to communicate that you don't have to provoke. You don't. If you know how to investigate,
That's good. Yeah.
they will talk to you.
And a lot of times, just sitting down and playing a game of cards with your teammates, you'll get EVPs, hey, look what that guy's got. You'll get all kinds of cool stuff, relating to what you're doing, but you're not even be trying to investigate. You're just playing cards and have your recorder on it.
I do remember when my team we went on 2 separate weekends because there's so many of us that we split in 2, but I went for both weekends. And I remember at one point in the middle of the night, me and one other were in the jail area, and all we did was just sit there in the dark, just sit there quietly. We weren't even asking questions, and we were hearing what sounded like the cell, I guess, the cells. And I was just looking around like, okay, I know there's no one else here because we split up, and we were just quiet as could be. There was also a room in the back. I can't remember if it had a name to this room, but it was just basically a room with a mirror in it, I think. Do you remember having a mirror in one of the rooms?
Yeah, we have this portal mirror that's in the sheriff's bedroom. which is across
Okay,
from the
in
sheriff's
that
office.
room, I remember hearing faintly what you were talking about earlier, like almost like a child.
Mhm.
And it freaked me out because I was like, why would I be hearing a child? You know, what? That makes no sense to me.
Yep, that was their
And
bedroom.
it does now.
It does now. There was one morning, I mean, we get a lot of stuff not even actively trying to investigate. We were in that room, and I brought up an antique four-poster bed that I had in storage for a number of years, and I thought it would be perfect for the sheriff's bedroom.
She wanted to snuggle.
And I wanted to snuggle. We just bought a new mattress. It's one of these old beds you have to put the slats in and everything.
Right.
And we got the mattress for it, got it all put together. I said, so let's lay on this and see, is it comfortable and is it stable enough? And we're laying there, and in between us, this prolonged guttural growl
It was long and loud.
that just went on, and I sat up, and I'm speechless, and I'm quiet because I'm just, is there going to be more to this? You know, what the hell? And she's like, doesn't it
I
bother
was like,
you?
doesn't that bother you in the slightest? She's like, well, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, don't growl at me, man. You know, we're respectful here.
Right.
Why you gotta growl at me? Yeah, we immediately went outside. And
We've had a few moments where we have just went outside,
It
where
went
it was a
outside.
little overwhelming.
where it's like, yeah, someone's not happy with us at the moment,
Yeah.
or there's a newcomer we're not familiar with. It's feeling kind of threatening right now, and we're like, okay, we're going outside. John, it's all yours. You deal with whoever this is for us. But yeah, there have been a lot of moments where we're just, I mean, I can almost promise you, we can walk through the cells downstairs right now and get a few bangs
Oh, I'm sure
on
we
the
would.
way as we walk by.
Yep.
And we get as much activity here in the daytime
A lot.
as we do at night.
It's just scary at night because it's dark.
It's dark.
Right.
You know,
Right.
But during the day, I
Well,
probably think you get more just because a lot of it's probably residual.
a lot of it's residual, and you hear the, you know, the normal sounds of daytime operations, like somebody pushing a cart down the hallway, or we've
Oh,
heard writing on that
Yeah.
check-in board up front, the booking board,
Yeah.
where they would write in prisoners' names. We hear what sounds like that Sharpie on that board, and keys jingling around, and
Wow.
people being escorted. And yeah, I don't think that's real. That's not really happening right now. It's just the residual stuff.
right.
But there is plenty of interactive, intelligent.
Well, like that one night, we were upstairs and we've been up there for probably about an hour cleaning, mopping the floors. And we said, we were playing some big band music. And I said, well, let's go downstairs for a little bit and we'll leave a recorder running. And we had like one of those metal chairs over in the corner.
Metal folding chair.
So we had the recorder going for probably about an hour, and we go and get it, and we come back, and we're listening to it, and about 30 minutes in, you hear that chair being drug
Across the concrete.
away from the recorder, and then it stops, and then you can hear it being drugged back because it got louder. I'm looking at her, I'm like, well, I'm not going back up there. I'm like, oh, hell no. No.
I said, you know, it's about to rain. We have to go up there and close all those windows.
It's like, well, we got to turn
You
all
are
the lights on.
definitely going back up there.
But it
And
was like, it was loud, and there was, I mean, it's one of those, there's no doubt that's what it was, and there was nobody in there. It was just
no,
the
we
two
get
of
a lot
us.
of, and it happened just last weekend to those guys. You hear a tremendous, like, boom from up there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, the first time I heard it, I thought part of the,
Like the
vent
building
work-
shakes.
I thought
It's loud.
a piece of vent work fell and hit one of the top of
Yeah,
those
the
cells.
metal
I mean, it
building.
just shook
It's
everything.
loud.
Nothing to account for it. And that happened to them.
Yes, last weekend.
It's like, what was that? I said, well, it wasn't a cell door slamming.
And they never went back upstairs.
But I've had that happen where I've been up there mopping and you hear the sound of a cell door slamming behind you. And I am so claustrophobic. It's like, I never should have mentioned that. Now they know that's how to get me. But nothing actually was closed.
No.
It's just the
Right.
sound of that. And it's like, that was
It's like
enough
rattling.
to make me want
loud.
to leave that. It's like, yeah, just
Now let me
threatening it
ask
with
you
this-
something. Have you ever had a really bad, let's say a physical encounter with one of these? Have you ever
I
been
was-
like scratched or pushed?
We've had
or
a number of people get scratched, or their hair pulled, or pinched.
I got my butt touched
Yeah,
not
your
that
butt
long
touch.
ago.
That
I'm
was
like,
last weekend, wasn't it?
is that thunder?
No, that's a truck driving by.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what the heck?
There was a day when I was coming down from upstairs and, steep metal stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And just suddenly I was on the move. And it felt like a hand, not against, like in between your shoulder blades. And when you're not ready for it, I
Right.
kill myself trying to catch myself.
Well, those are deep stairs.
They're narrow and
too,
they're
so,
deep,
yeah.
but I'd never fallen down stairs before. And it wasn't wet and slippery, but actually felt physically something touching me. And it was like, yeah, I'm out now. Thank God I wasn't seriously hurt, but
Right.
I'm not going back in for a little bit. But,
Right.
you can be upstairs and it has that uneasy feeling.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I don't like the way it feels here. And I'll walk outside, come back in an hour later, it's fine. Everything can change so quickly.
Right.
I mean, there are times when the upstairs is just so active, nothing going on downstairs, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
Quiet as a mouse upstairs. So it does, the activity moves around.
Right.
It feels almost to me like there's a different group of spirits that hang out upstairs as opposed to the spirits that are downstairs.
Yes, absolutely.
And we were doing a ghost box session at that front booking room one day, me and a fellow, and I said, okay, we're going to go upstairs. Do you want to go with us up there? You can come up there and talk to us. And it was a woman's voice that says, we do not go up there. Okay, you don't like to chill with those guys? I understand.
Wow.
It's such a mixture of male and female prisoners that were here, and some nasty women. We've gotten some nasty EVPs.
Like dirty little women.
Like come in here and blank me and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to me, but no.
Yeah.
To a gentleman who was here investigating.
Yeah, I did.
Now, do you
And,
think that the person themselves, let's say it's my team and another team go to investigate, they get a bunch of stuff, we get absolutely nothing, or vice versa. Do you think it has anything to do with the people themselves that are going to?
I think it has everything to do with the people themselves. And if you come in here, sometimes you'll get a couple. They've been fighting all the way here. The negative energy kind of continues. I think spirits communicate more with people that they see as being on their same vibrational level. And if they know that you're open to that. I think someone that's in here scared to death to see anything is probably not going to have much of an experience.
Okay.
But I think for the most part, these spirits want to be heard. They want to interact with people. If you come in here and you're just, a jerk and you're provoking and everything, you might get more than you bargained for.
Yeah.
Or you may get nothing.
Right.
Because they don't want to deal with you.
Right.
I'm sure there's a nasty spirit in here just like you.
Yeah.
That's glad to shuffle with you a little bit.
Right.
But I think a lot of us just being open to it, being in the right frame of mind, having your energy at that level where you're focused on communicating. You're focused on having an experience, and you're letting them know that, hey, I am open to that.
And
Right.
people that if they maybe didn't get an experience, maybe actually did, they're just in a different dimension.
And they just don't know it.
They don't know what they're looking for. So
I have to say that I don't even know how many groups have been through here, hundreds of people. Been
Of
all-
amazing people.
Yeah. So many
Seriously.
wonderful lifelong
Absolutely.
friends I've made as a result of this place.
Right.
But
That's how we met.
it is. That's how we met. She came here with a group, one of the first groups that ever came here. And we became good friends. And Rhodey was with me for a while.
Right.
And she was having other stuff going on. And so I threw that out to Lisa. She's like, I love being here. I'm like, how'd you like to be here a lot? How would you like to come and be my co-property manager, help me host some of these groups? We'd cover for each other if someone can't be here or there's an emergency or whatever. And it's like, I'll think about it. Okay, yeah. And
It's like, oh, honey, by the way, I got this new job. And I'm not going to be here on the weekends anymore.
Now let me ask you something. For those people who would like to visit your location, can you give us the information on how to get in touch with you so that they can visit?
We're on Facebook, Haunted Old Lavaca County Jail. Lisa's our marketing director. She has us everywhere. We're all over Instagram as Haunted Old Lavaca County Jail. We're on Twitter. I'm not a Twitter. I don't tweet, but
We tweet every now and then.
But on our jail page on Facebook
And Instagram.
and Instagram are the links to book a night here, my phone number, our address. We're in Hallettsville, which is pretty much halfway between Houston and San Antonio. It's about 2 hours from each place. So we get a lot of people from around the country that come that will either fly into San Antonio and drive here, or fly into Houston, drive here. It's about the same distance either way.
The cool thing about this town is it's like so tiny, but there's so much history. Like you can't just come here for one night and just do the jail, because there's so many other ties to the jail around this town.
Right.
There's an old hanging tree down the road of the park. The courthouse is just absolutely fabulous. There's so many historic buildings, historic cemeteries, old churches. This town is basically Czechoslovakian and German, Bohemian heritage. And a lot of the names on these old buildings are people that have been here for generations.
Right. Now, let me ask you another question. Those who choose to go out there to try to investigate. Now, I know some groups think that they need all kinds of equipment and, you know, all the most expensive stuff. And is that necessary there? Is that really necessary?
You can bring your phone and get stuff.
My two best tools are a flashlight and the hairs on my arms. And I don't need a lot more than that. We certainly have everything. We have a DVR system and cameras and all the gadgets.
2 meters, whatever.
Rarely do I ever use anything besides a recorder.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there are times I'll go around and shoot pictures, but I mean, I've been here so long, since 2015, that I really don't actively investigate this place. If I have a couple friends come up who want to, you know, they're not ghost hunters, but you know, they want to come up and experience it, I might do a little bit with them. But a lot of times people will come, especially inexperienced, will ask us, you want to come in with us? And like, no, we don't interfere with your investigations. You're pretty much on your own. If you get scared, please don't leave. Come get us. We will get you through whatever.
Right.
You know. Right. But we have had some people who say, yeah, it was great. We'll never be back.
So you're on the property the entire time anybody's there doing their investigation in case anything happens?
We're not in the jail with you. You have that all to yourself and the property. We have a large room next door that used to be an EMS office. It's like our little small mini apartment. And we have our own refrigerator.
It's like a detached garage from the jail, basically.
Right.
But we sleep out here when we have people here because we like to be able to lock up when they leave. We have a lot of expensive stuff here and artifacts things, and we like to be here if emergency happens, or, you know, like last week, you got an extra camera we can borrow, or extension cord, or whatever.
It's always an extension cord.
Our monitor went out. We got you covered. We got all that. We'll gladly give it to you to use.
Well, then we like to give the historical tour so people know, you know, the history, and show them, you know, where the bathrooms and everything is at. So,
know your way around. It says on our website, our investigations are from 8 p.m. till 9 a.m. We usually tell people, if you want to come at 6, do that. Unload your equipment, see the building and the grounds in the daylight, go have something to eat, we'll watch your stuff, come back, do it at your leisure.
Now, if there are people who do choose to go there, maybe they want to go early or even spend the night before and check out the area. Are there nearby hotels and stuff, or motels?
Lots of nearby hotels, and a lot of people do that. We just filled up the Hotel Texas. We did a television show, a network show. We cannot mention what it was, other than horrifying. But
you said it, not me. But yeah, it was.
But yeah, they were here filming for a week, and they stayed in all the hotels, and
they kept us fed, and that was the best part.
And watered and amused.
I was so happily fed the whole time. I like to eat.
We've historically stayed away from mainstream TV because of the fact that we are investigators, and I mean, it's fine for what it is for entertainment stuff. It's just hard when you have a little integrity.
Just a wee bit.
to participate in some, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It hurt. It was painful.
Yeah, it hurt a bit, but it gets the name of the jail out there, which is important, and less people know about the location. We have a lot of people that will book for an entire weekend because of the
wow.
fact that we
Yeah.
do get so much during the day.
And the more
Right.
you're here, the more the spirits
Oh,
become
yeah.
familiar with you as well. So,
Right.
and, you know, I
Yeah.
always recommend people book it the whole weekend because then you're here all day Saturday too, and you're getting to
Yeah.
experience all the activity that happens during the day because
Right.
there's a lot.
And we've had people say, yeah, it was dead quiet Friday night. Saturday night, oh my God,
Yeah.
all hell broke loose. I'm so glad we stayed 2 days. I mean, it's like that anywhere you go. You have down times and more active times. But in all honesty, with all the people we've had here, I've never had anybody leave and say, we didn't get anything.
Nope.
We
Never.
got
Right.
nothing. That has never happened. I've had someone leave a lot earlier and say, we've had enough. But I've never had anybody say they didn't have any kind of experiences between them while they were here. which is
Right.
good.
Now, do you guys do events?
We
Do you do, like, public
events. We do. We've done a few public investigations, and that's a little bit different than an overnight investigation. And because the jail is not that large, like we're real excited. We're doing the world's largest ghost hunt again coming up, and that is certainly a public investigation. But we limit our ticket sales to 20 people because if you have more people than that, nobody's going to experience anything.
Right.
Break people up into small groups. So there'll be a group in the upstairs cells, a group in the downstairs cells, a group where the old house used to be, and we can, travel around.
Right.
And then after a couple of hours of formal investigating, we turn them loose to do whatever you'd like to do until midnight. And then the group that's sponsoring the event for us, which is Mike Cardina's Midnight Paranormal Society, their group for doing this for us, get to jail privately for their group for the rest of the night. They're
Awesome.
big time repeat offenders. They've been here a lot. But world's largest ghost hunt, there's a location near you, wherever you are, that you can get in on that and go in and investigate. It's a cool experience and a good way
It's
to.
worldwide. It's awesome. It's not just
people
like,
from around the globe.
it's so cool.
Investigating at the same time. Maria Schmidt, who runs Haunted Journeys, she created National Ghost Hunting Day for us, and then went on to create the world's largest ghost hunt to promote, collective consciousness of people in para-unity and getting all these places out there.
Mhm.
So going to one of these events, you get a very inexpensive look at a location you might like to rent for an overnight or for a weekend and go back to. And, people charge different prices for their tickets. We keep ours dirt cheap. They're $35. You're here from 7 to midnight. And
we have snacks.
We have snacks.
That's always a
We
plus.
guarantee fun and a good time.
And
But
snacks.
a lot of
Snacks.
friendships have been made by
Yes,
people
they
that,
have.
that meet by
We have
coming to
so
things
much
like this.
parafam now. It is so cool.
It is so
That's
cool.
some
It
really
is so
interesting
cool.
people and have learned so much.
We do have a couple of larger groups that do public investigations here. The overnight ones, just because how small it is and our lack of sleeping areas that we can air condition or heat, we try to keep it around 8 to 10 people. And you can still do that for a $300 overnight investigation.
Right.
If you want to have a boatload of people, I recommend booking it for a couple of nights.
And splitting it up.
And,
That's what I did.
Dividing
We
it
did
up.
2 weekends and divided the team up, and that was perfect for us.
Yeah. Yep.
But we've had community events. We had a funeral for a friend. We've had 2 marriage renewal vows.
Mine. Thank you very much.
We do some
19 years
interesting
and
things
strong.
here. We do. We do.
Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
But yeah, there's a lot of property here, a lot of outside area, big covered garage, huge backyard. We barbecue. We have a fire pit.
Make s'mores every now and then.
We do. It's a good place to
Yeah.
have.
Let me ask you, is it more active at any certain time of the year than others? Or is it pretty much steady all year round?
For me, it seems like it's more active in the winter time,
It's a little cooler.
but it's active all the time.
Because I've been to jails in the
miserably
winter.
hot.
Well, that's
I've
the
been
other
to
thing.
jails in the winter, and it's horrible. It's cold. It's too cold
is.
to investigate. It's uncomfortably cold.
Like right now.
Like right now, it's like comfortably hot.
It's like 180 degrees.
It is.
It sucks.
I mean, we have space heaters and we can heat up certain areas, but
Right.
not all of it. And
Right.
it's just cold and you have to dress for that. But we do have a nice break room where you can go get toasty warm, or you can
Or a little cool dog.
go to Antarctica and sit there till you're shivering and then get back out in it. Put your cooling towel on. I've sat upstairs doing EVP sessions before we even had electricity with ice bags on my head and my neck. And I did have a power inverter that I could plug a fan into downstairs and stuff like that. But I mean, suffering to do this. It's like, now this is dedication. And I want to hear from you so bad that I'm almost going to die, okay? So talk to me.
Talk to me now.
And really, just a couple months out of the summer, like July and August, is it like miserable in there? In the evening times, once the sun goes down,
Yeah, once the sun goes
it's
down.
not bad at all.
But don't
It's not
come
bad
in
at all.
jeans, because you're going to be
dress,
hot.
dress for it, you
Right.
know, take some clothes off, and
Yeah.
Right.
sitting outside in the backyard just for 20 minutes in the evening time. The wind's blowing, you're cooled off, you feel like getting back in there and getting after it.
Right. Well, this is actually the end of our show. We actually went over, but thank you so
we
much
talked
for
too
all
much.
the information that you've given. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of paranormal teams, and anybody who hasn't been, you need to go. This is one of those.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on. If you go to our booking schedule, it shows you available dates Thursday through Sunday that you can book online. You can actually come here anytime. Just call me. I get a lot of calls from people. I want to shoot a film. It might be 3 or 4 days. Let me know.
Right.
I'm there. I live in Houston, but I can come anytime and get everything ready for you and be happy to do that because.
Awesome. That is awesome.
I just want a tour on a Wednesday or something.
Oh yeah, we do public tours, and we don't have regular office hours because I'm not always here or open tour hours.
Right.
But call us, make arrangements for it. We've done a number of tours. People just pull in, and we're like, "You want to tour the jail? Come on in, let me show you around."
And I've heard. I mean, even though I personally have gone there, I've heard great things about this place, and it's a must if you live in Texas. This is one of those places you have to check out. So please do call them. You can see how wonderful these women are, and how
nice this place is, and how clean and comfortable,
and how dedicated they are. So
crispy treats.
So thank you so much, Debra and Lisa, for talking to me today and letting everybody know a little bit more about your jail. And I hope this helps get some people out there. I will definitely push it.
I do too. You're missing out if you haven't been here. This is one of those bucket list places.
It is. If you haven't been here, be here. Yeah.
It's amazing.
We thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for talking to me today.
And come back.
See you soon. Come on back.
Yes, we will definitely have
time.
back.
Come see us.
Bye, lady.
Bye. Thank you.